welcome back to Faith and Flour. If you're new here, I'm Robin, and in today's video, I am back in the pantry. So this is another installment of my Prepper Pantry series, and it's just about stocking your extended pantry so that you have about a 4-week food supply in case of an emergency or any number of reasons. And when you are preparing a pantry, it's important that you keep in mind to store what you eat and to eat what you store. So in today's video, I'm giving you 3 more recipes using mostly pantry ingredients so that you can use the things that you have been storing in your pantry. And as a bonus, these meals are pretty easy to make, and I know your family are going to love them. So let's get into it, and I'll show you these 3 recipes. Today's recipes are all classic recipes that you might have grown up with. I have Spanish rice, a black bean soup with rice, and chicken daivan. So these recipes all use the rice from your pantry, and our family eats gluten-free, so these are gluten-free as well, but without any strange ingredients. I promise they'll be all things that are familiar to you that you probably already have in your pantry. Spanish rice is an oldie but a goodie, and I got this recipe out of a Taste of Home magazine years and years ago. It was in their budget meal for 4 section. This is a very simple 1-pot meal for 4. It couldn't be easier to prepare, and the ingredients are very basic but yet very flavorful because you use a lot of spices that you have in your pantry to really jazz it up. And if you like it spicy, you can even add a little hot pepper sauce to it. Don't worry about all of the ingredients and instructions for today's recipes. I will have them all in the description box below so that you can cut and paste and print out if you like. The only fresh ingredient required for this recipe is the ground beef from your freezer or refrigerator, and you just start by browning it in a Dutch oven like this one or a large skillet with a lid. I love the combination of spices from your pantry to give this recipe tons of flavor. So start by combining all of those with your ground meat. To that, you're going to add some Worcestershire sauce. You can even add some hot pepper sauce if your family likes it spicy. And then add in the green beans, the tomatoes, and the rice. Stir to combine and then bring to a boil. At this point, you'll want to reduce the heat, cover and simmer for 40 minutes or until the rice is tender. This is one of those sort of dump and go recipes that I love, especially when my kids were younger. It's something that they've always enjoyed from a very early age, and the fact that I have all of these ingredients in my pantry almost all the time, I could throw it together, and during the time that it takes to cook, I am free to get any number of other things done. So what more could a busy mom want? I hope that if you guys try this recipe, that your family will love it as much as mine does. This black bean and rice soup is something that I have made for quite a long time as well. The original recipe was called Smoky Black Bean Soup and Rice Stoop by Rachel Ray, and I modified the recipe a little bit. I couldn't find a link for it, so I'm going to put my modified recipe in the description box, so that will have all the measurements and instructions for you guys so you don't have to remember anything. But again, this is a recipe that's made pretty much entirely from pantry ingredients, and it's another sort of dump and go recipe, so great for busy weeknights. In your soup pot or Dutch oven, heat the olive oil over medium to high heat and add your chopped onion. To that, I'm adding some bacon bits. They are real bacon bits, and the reason why I like to use them is because they are shelf stable until they're opened, at which point you'll have to store them in the refrigerator, but they're something that's easy to keep on hand in your pantry. To that, I add a bay leaf and 2 cloves of garlic, and then I saute this for about 3 to 4 minutes until the onions are tender. turn in 1 can of the black beans and their juice, so undrained, and then drain the other can of beans and add those to the pot as well. Next, add your spices and a tablespoon or so of Worcestershire sauce. Salt and pepper to taste. Stir in 1 28-ounce can of fire-roasted diced or crushed tomatoes along with a quart of chicken stock. If you wish to make this recipe plant-based or vegan, just simply swap out the chicken broth for some vegetable broth and leave out the bacon. To thicken up the soup without having to add any extra ingredients, I like to use an immersion blender. Just be sure to remove the bay leaf before you use your immersion blender, and you can do this either before or after the cooking time. It really doesn't matter. I like to use the immersion blender very briefly because we prefer a chunkier soup, but if you want it to be very smooth, you can continue to process it until it's the texture that you prefer. At this point, I'm adding the bay leaf in. Normally, I would just wait until this time to put the bay leaf in, but you get the point. And then you just want to bring the soup to a boil and then stir in the rice. Cover the pot and lower the heat to a simmer and allow to cook for about 15 minutes. I'm a huge fan of black bean soup, and this is just a heartier version with the addition of the rice. It's a little bit more satisfying, really perfect for the fall months. My family loves it, and if you want to brighten it up a bit, you could add some fresh lime juice, some fresh cilantro, or green onions. Any toppings that your family enjoys would be perfect. Next up is chicken divan, and if you're not from the South, maybe you've never heard of it, but growing up, this was something that pretty much everybody's mom made. The traditional recipe always calls for cream of mushroom or cream of chicken or cream of broccoli soup, something like that. And because we eat gluten-free, that's out. So I was always looking for a recipe online, and I found this one years ago. Back when I discovered this, I didn't know that I may one day be sharing it on YouTube. I don't have the author's name, so I can't give them credit, but it's a great recipe. And I did make a couple modifications, and I'll have it in the description box for you as well. This recipe calls for broccoli, and I'm using fresh, which I steamed in the microwave. You could also use frozen, whatever you prefer. Obviously, broccoli is a fresh ingredient. It doesn't come from your pantry, but I think it's a really great addition to this dish. It's what's called for traditionally, but in a pinch, I think you could probably substitute some canned green beans or something like that. And the other fresh ingredient is milk. I do suggest that you keep dry milk as part of your extended pantry, but if you have fresh milk on hand, definitely use that and save the dried milk for an emergency, or if you need to use it because it's going to be expiring soon, then you could go ahead and just make the amount of milk that this calls for in the recipe. To the milk in a small saucepan, add cornstarch, 2 gluten-free chicken bouillon cubes, and heat this over medium heat. You cook, stirring constantly until it's thickened. And once the sauce starts to thicken, you can add the butter, and then you cook and stir until the butter's melted. All of that takes about 3 to 5 minutes, and then once the butter's melted, remove the pan from the heat. To this, add mayonnaise, lemon juice, and curry powder. You're going to stir everything well so that it's nicely combined and the sauce is smooth and creamy. Lightly spray a 9 by 13 inch casserole dish with some cooking spray. I'm just using olive oil, and then put in your steamed broccoli, and on top of that layer the canned chicken. Pour the sauce all over the top and then spread it evenly. Top with shredded cheddar cheese and then bake at 350 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes. Traditionally, this dish is served over white long grain rice, but I'm going to use brown rice, which is actually my favorite, and I'm making it in my Instant Pot, which is so easy. If you've never done it before, definitely try it. All you need is the same ratio, 1-to-1, of rice and water. You combine that in your Instant Pot, so I'm doing about a cup of each, and a little bit of salt. And for brown rice, it's about 10 minutes. I actually have my rice setting set to 10 minutes, so I don't even have to think about it. But I just give it a quick stir, pop the lid on, make sure it's set to sealing, and set for 10 minutes. The rice takes about the same amount of time as the casserole at this point, so they're ready together. And the reason for that is because the pressure cooker needs extra time to get up to pressure. And then I like to let there be a natural release with brown rice. To me, this gives it the best texture. And so while both of those things are cooking, I'm free to clean up the kitchen or do whatever I need to do. And so again, this is one of those meals that's really nice on a busy weeknight. You like the recipes from today's video and that you're going to give them a try. And if you like them, then you will have some ideas for things that you can stock in your pantry that you're actually going to use. And with that said, these recipes are not meant to take place of fresh produce. We love fresh produce in our family, and most of our meals include them. But there are times when, even under normal circumstances, I can't get it to the store, or I don't have a lot of fresh things on hand. And then I can fall back to my pantry recipes to make meals from things in our pantry. Also, I like to rotate 1 or 2 of these recipes through my meal planning for the week, and that way we are cycling through the things that we are storing. So I hope that today's video gave you some ideas for recipes, and I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more in this series, definitely let me know in the comments below. I always look forward to hearing from you there. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great week.